you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so this is the form that I have that I started with. As I mentioned, roll enough slab so that you can cut out every piece. So I have 2 slabs that I made, and I cut each piece out. And now I have all my pieces to work with. So remember, always when you're handling your clay, handle it with care so that it doesn't warp. If you are not sure yet, even though you've been trimming for a while, you're not sure what leather hard is, especially when working with slabs, this pretty much holds its shape. You can see it's bending just a little bit, but that's pretty stiff. It's got a little bit of flex to it before it breaks. But that's leather hard, for certain. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the miter joint. So this is a connection where the 2 pieces connect at 45 degrees. The thing about this is that it does require a little extra cutting, but it creates really nice clean edges, and it creates a very strong joint. So to cut, after you've cut all your pieces out, to cut that 45-degree angle, you can see this is, I've already done it on these ones. What you're going to do is take your piece, bring it to the edge of the table. Know how thick your slab is. If you're not sure, you can measure. I'll take my knife and I'll bring it up to the edge. And then what I'm going to do is line it back up and just make a little nail mark. So I measured the depth of the slab, and now I'm measuring it on the top side of the slab. If you can't see, move closer. Okay, I'm going to take a ruler, or you can use a wooden stick, and take your knife. Hold the ruler steady, and then lean your knife against the table and the ruler, and then just pull across. Slab shifted just a little bit. And by leaning it against the edge of the table and the ruler, you're getting a really nice 45-degree angle. So I need to do the same thing on the other side. And for my template, I've created all 4 walls, but I didn't create the base or the top. And I'm going to treat that just like I treated my soft slabs, where I kind of just wing that. So I just make a little mark for the depth, and then again.
It looks like it's like a 1/4 inch that is that you're cutting off.
Yeah, I'm cutting off the depth of the slab, which is about a 1/4 inch. Okay, so the next part, connecting, like always, we're going to score and slip. So I'm going to score both sides, and then put slip on one. And I actually like to do this on drywall so it doesn't stick to the table. So slip, 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 slip. Yeah, I'm just taking one side. And I'm pushing in from both edges. I'm pushing down. So I'm really pushing to make sure that these are well connected, lining up the edges. Okay. So I'm pretty good at guessing, and that's about a 90-degree angle right here. And because I'm basically making a cube type shape, that's what I want. You want to make sure that this wall is going completely up at a 90-degree angle. Now, next thing that I'm going to do, a lot of people are tempted to put the 3rd wall on like this. Found another way that I think works a little bit easier, and it's to put these other 2 pieces, these other 2 walls together. What's that?
I accidentally threw away
Her, her metal piece.
I thought it was just like a.
Oh,
Oh boy.
I need that.
Let's go buy another one.
It's just smoother.
Okay, so I connect those, and as I said, we're gonna have to put the little coil in.
That's true.
Are you gonna post this on
This is
YouTube?
just like sewing.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Well, the soft slab a little bit more. I always think of hard slab as being a little bit more like woodworking.
So the coil you don't have to roll away.
The coil we want to be nice and fresh because we want to smash it into that corner.
So are you gonna post this on D2L?
The link to it will be on D2L. It should also be on the computer in the back room. Okay, so same thing in here. Oops. And you notice how ever since we started hand building, I keep saying the paddle, use the paddle when you're making your pinch pots, use the paddle when you're doing your soft slabs, and use the paddle when you're doing this project. It really helps to compress the form, and it helps to keep the shape.
D2L, it'll talk about pinch pots too?
Yeah, that's all there. That's all there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these two big hunks together. So everything gets scored.
Do you recommend that making the two separate things by themselves instead of doing the two and then doing the third one? Do you recommend doing the way that you did versus doing the third one and then the fourth? Is that harder to do?
Yeah, I feel like this just comes together a little bit easier, and you can make sure that you have your 90-degree corners. Okay, so I have to make sure that all of my edges are lining up. And I'm going to compress. Making any little wiggle adjustments. And this is where you'll find, like, if you weren't real careful with your measurements or your cutting, when you cut it, it wasn't a straight line or it's not precise, it's going to show up. Okay, so I'm compressing these together. I'm going to go back and put another coil on the inside on those two seams. And I also will take the paddle. After I get that all together, I'll paddle it and make sure that all the edges are lining up.
If we need paddles, if we're doing this at home, what should we use for a paddle? What like I know she drops in newspaper on like a board, small board for.
Yeah, a spoon, a wooden spoon works. Okay, so I have to go back and put that coil in there, but I want you to see like how crisp these edges are. They're really nice and sharp.
Now would you with the wet toothbrush like kind of like get the
Yes, any little gaps that are in there like that, you can just go back with your finger, run your finger up the side. That'll smooth out. You can go back and paddle, and that'll all come together.
Does wet toothbrush work too or no?
Is the what?
Wet water would that help it or no?
Slightly, yeah. Slightly. We don't want to add a ton of water though. Okay. So now for my base. So you could keep it in this orientation and you have a wonderful vase. You could hand build a spout and put a handle on it to turn it into a pitcher. I kind of like it in this orientation where it can be a vase, or I can put another slab on top and create a little opening and it will be a bottle. Either way. So for base, just like I did with my soft slabs, kind of rough it out. Okay, and then I will score and slip the bottom of both pieces. And then after that's scored and slipped together, I'm gonna rough this edge. Rough it up, make it real ugly. And then I'll go back with my, my metal rib and smooth it out to connect that base. Okay?
How do you get the oil into the bottom of something when it's so hard to?
Tiny, tiny little squishy hands. And this one actually, it's coming apart because I don't have that other coil in there, but I don't even know that I could do it. So I might just make sure that I put extra slip on the bottom. You know, score real well, put extra slip. And then the one thing that I always like to do after I get my base on is I'll flip it over and I'll paddle it pretty hard to make sure that it's really well attached.